Up, this is Brandon Blue UK and Ireland podcast. You hear that? The Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. Let's go Giants.
So I'm getting a bit carried away with the music there. Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. This week, as you can see, we are 75% British, 25% Irish, but absolutely still 100% Giants. Kev's back nice and tan from Miami. Producer Craig's also back, returning to join us. So it's me, Shane, Kev, and Craig, a full house back with you to discuss what has been an eventful 48 hours. That's how we're doing.
Yeah, all good. Literally feel like I've spent like the last sort of 48 hours on Twitter, to be honest with you, how much like you guys probably have. I know we've had plenty of chat in our group chat about things, and sort of the next 45 minutes to an hour, I'm sure we're going to go back and forth on a lot of things that have been happening.
Yeah, it's been I've sort of been like in the loop a little bit, but obviously being away with some very close friends over to Miami for a joint 40th. Sort of like we've been very busy and I haven't really been able to keep up with it too much, but it's kind of weird. I was sitting at the airport on the way back at a 4:50 flight, just refreshing Twitter, sitting there waiting to get on. So it was a bit of a weird Monday, after coming back from Miami, but joining on to Twitter as well. But yeah, all good. Back, so glad talking to you guys. Really missed it last week, and roll on the podcast.
Yeah, it was a bit alien last week. I don't miss too many of these, so it felt very strange to not have my midweek not feel as normal as it did. But the gig was good, and many a pint was sunk, so I made the most of it. But I can't wait to get into this. This is probably one of the bigger talking points of the season, if not the biggest.
I think you're pretty accurate with that there, Craig. But those two pointers last week looked pretty decent. So hope you had a few of them.
They're not cheap.
Love it too. No, man,
cheap.
I can imagine it. Probably about a tenner each, right? I can imagine, if not more. 12,
16.
Shit. I mean, you kind of expect it at a gig, don't you? Really, the price of alcohol skyrockets. So. 16 quid, but it's 2 points, so it's all right, I suppose.
I'll tell you what I've been spending on pints for this last week or so. I mean, that seems so cheap now.
I can imagine yours has been about $15 a pint, Kev, or something like that, right?
They were coming in at $12, between $9 and $12 for 330 ml cans.
Oh, that's filth.
Yeah, I know. I mean. We went into one cocktail bar on the beach, and one lad's got like a large daiquiri that they kind of pour from the machine, and that was $25. Painful. I have to do some overtime next month, I think.
Mate, absolutely. Get that OT in, because that's your credit card's going to be maxed, no doubt. It's all good. But no, glad to have you back, guys. Obviously, last week with having Keep on was a very good episode. We enjoyed it, didn't we, Shane? But it's always nice to have the crew back. And like you said, it's the sort of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, talking points of the off-season so far that we're going to get into in a minute. It is obviously a change to the original episode that we did have planned. We did have plans to talk about our edge rushers and linebackers, but that's coming up next week instead now. We felt that it was a big enough talking point to spend a whole hour or so on a Wednesday night just talking about it. So that's coming up here today. Obviously the franchise tag deadline came and went on Monday, and as Shane rightly said, we were all, well, 3/4 of us were all glued to Twitter, waiting for updates to find out whether Barkley would sign a new deal or not, and plenty more of that coming up in a minute. But first up, it was announced this past week that not only will the Giants be playing on a new field at MetLife Stadium, but that field will, for the first time ever in franchise history, have the team's logo painted at midfield. And I'm sorry, but how damn sexy does that picture look right now on that screen? We've had midfield logos before, the NFL shield. We had one at the old Meadowlands with the New Jersey Meadowlands logo in the middle of the field as well. But with that NY sitting across the 50-yard line, I think it would truly make MetLife start to feel like home. The Jets have announced as well they're going to have some new logo on midfield, but there's no details about that yet. We don't really care about them. They're only our lodgers, so it's fine. But yeah, how nice is it going to be to have that NY on the 50-yard line?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been one of my biggest, not biggest gripes, but a little minor gripe that I've had. I've always wanted it there, and I think I did read many years ago when I was reading up on the Giants and MetLife, because obviously I was unaware of the MetLife and former Giants stadium, and I'm pretty sure that sorry if you can hear my phone pinging on the computer. It was I think there was something about how difficult it was or something to change the midfield section the way they did the end zones or something. So the fact that we've upgraded our turf will hopefully not just mean less injuries this year, which I'm sure we're all hoping for. It also means now we just get to see that beautiful logo front and centre. Because let's face it, no one wants to have a look at the NFL shield constantly as often as what we've had to.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Someone's popular.
No, it's not. We can't be breaking news. We passed the deadline already, so can't be some NFL news.
Sorry, carry on.
I was just saying, it was always kind of weird looking at the NFL generic logo in the middle of the field. I know they took out the end zones, and they're so much easier doing than leave the middle of the field. But I just think, it's today's technology and this new field turf, being able to interchange the middle as well as the end zones. I mean, you look at other teams and just seeing their logo splashed across the middle, and it's just especially those sort of nice big runs as well. If someone breaks a 65-yarder or something, just running across the center field logo, just looks so class. And I'm really looking forward to seeing it. And obviously, we get to see that in real life this year, lads, don't we?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do it. I think they use something like special paint that they can just power wash off, but there's going to be a quick turnaround between that kind of Friday night Jets game and our game on the Sunday when we're over. So let's hope none of that dirty green is left on the pitch afterwards. But no, it's a welcome addition to the pitch, and like you said, Dad, I think you nailed it. It gives us identity, and that's kind of what you want. You want people to tune in and kind of look at the field from a distance, and if they can't see the end zones, they know where they are. They know it's not Giant Stadium, but they know that it's the Meadowlands. So it will be interesting to see it for the first time. Maybe take a bit getting used to, but it's a welcome addition, and I think it's class from the Giants to add that in.
Yeah, man, I think it's long overdue, and like you said, it gives us that identity. Wherever you look from at the field on TV, you're going to be able to see the NY logo, and it's everybody knows that they're going to be at MetLife playing the Giants. So yeah, bring on the NY on the field. Be nice to have the NY with the Union Jack and the tricolour in, though, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. Ain't gonna happen. We can only dream, but that'd be nice. Maybe they should do that when the Giants play their home game here. NFL UK, if you're listening, get onto it. Make it happen. Come on. But yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to obviously going to MetLife, and essentially it's still Giant Stadium. Like I said, the Jets are our lodgers. They just come in when they need to and go when they're not needed. So it will always be Giant Stadium in the heart of all Giants fans. Alrighty, moving on. As I said at the top of the show, there is only really sort of one talking point this week, and that is the whole Saquon Barkley contract saga. This past Monday evening, the franchise tag deadline came and went, and the news broke just before 9 p.m. that he hadn't signed a new deal with the team, which was rather disappointing, I must say. The first news, like I said, we had was, I think, 5 to 9 from Saquon himself when he tweeted out saying exactly that, what it says on the screen. It is what it is. And then moments later, Ian Rappaport confirmed the news that he wouldn't be signing a new deal. But what do you make of that tweet, Shane? Like, just that tweet alone, what do you make of that? It is what it is.
I quite like it in the sense of like, it is what it is. There's no point. You can't do anything about it. Like, it literally, it is what it is. He's not got a contract deal. He's got to accept it. He's got to suck it up. Only he can decide how he wants to proceed from here, which, you know, we might talk about at some point. But I've kind of got no issues with what he's saying. At least he's put something out there. At least he's not put out there, fuck the Giants or fuck Joe Shane. You know what I mean? We've seen NFL players, not even just NFL players, but we've seen sports players in the past do something similar. So at least he's not sort of like kind of took the hump. He's obviously got some frustration there, which I can understand. But, you know, he's just saying it is what it is, and then we'll just sort of kind of see where it goes from here, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, it is what it is, right? And it really is what it is, because it kind of like there was two outcomes here, and I kind of read that look, we tried to get a deal together, and we just didn't. It just didn't happen. And I don't see it as like an animosity tweet, you know, like Shane said, he could have come out and said, you know, I'm worth something. I didn't get this, and he could have come out with a big old statement saying that. And he just posted out a little bit of frustration, but you know, I just see that tweet as exactly how it should read, as in like, it is what it is. There was two options. Whatever, he was going to play for the Giants. Whatever, in my opinion, he will play for the Giants this season. And you know, if he puts on a healthy campaign, he'll play well. So, you know, as the tweet says again, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody saw, any of the listeners or viewers saw. I jumped on the New York Revival live show that they did at the time that the news. I lucked out and was the first person to react to the news breaking on there, and it was what I kind of brought up when I was on there with Mr. Glasshouse Full, El Jefe, and with Eli as well. So, and what I said was, it's a 7-word statement, 6-word statement, 5 words. I can't count. 5 words. We'll go with 5. 5-word statement where it means nothing. You could read into it a million ways, and you're never going to come to the conclusion, because you don't know what Saquon thinks when he's writing those 5 words. He could quite simply say, look, it is what it is. Or he could be pissed off, but it could give him the fire for the season. Or you could take it the other way. Like, it's such a vague statement, and I get what he's doing with it. I get why he's put it out there, but we'll talk about this a bit later, but it got tongues wagging, not just with Giants fans, but everywhere, essentially. But he's entitled to have his opinion, and he wanted to be the person who got it out there first. You know, he broke his own news, essentially, because we all knew exactly what it was straight away. So, as Kev said, it is what it is.
Literally, it is what it is. That the statement couldn't be more spot on. You can read into it a million and one ways. Saquon, the only reason he's just put those 5 words on there is to create this whole saga and talking point that has come from it. You know, just 5, silly little words. It's 5 syllables. It's not, 5 words, 5 syllables, and it's created a massive sort of, huge, media coverage, talking point, whatever it is, and whether he signed a new deal or not, then really, in all honesty, that statement says to me, he's just going to carry on as normal. Yeah, but also you could, like you said, you could read into it way too much and start thinking, but what mindset is he in? Is he pissed off? Is he really angry? Is he annoyed with Joe Shane? Is he annoyed with the owners? Is he annoyed with this? Is he annoyed at that? Is he happy? Is he not? What? Don't care. It is what it is. That's what you can say, really. And I think that's probably the last time I say that statement, because I think we've all said it between us, total of about 100 times in the last maybe 2 minutes. So I think we should put that one to bed now. But according to a report in the New York Post, the team and Barkley came within a measly $2 million of agreeing a deal. However, neither side was willing to budge or give in a little bit more than they already had done. Ryan Dunleavy wrote with the report and said that the team's final 3-year offer was in the ballpark of around 11 to 11.5 million per year, with guarantees of between 22 and 23 million as well. Those numbers were all within $1 million, 1 or 2 million both ends of Barkley's reduced asking price as well. But either way, the numbers were close, but not close enough. And common ground sort of seemed relatively close, and to find with incentives that were potentially added over the first 2 years. But for whatever happened, whatever reason, they couldn't compromise anymore. Neither party could compromise anymore, and the deal wasn't done. So with that deal being so close, are you surprised that neither side, whether it was Barkley or the team, whether they neither side blinked? And do you feel that either party could have maybe blinked a little bit more and sort of gone, actually, yeah, okay, fine, I'll agree to those terms? What do you reckon, Kev?
I am surprised, but I think although the Giants came up from what was reported to be about 18, 19 million guaranteed, but I believe they were offering 12 to 13 average per year. So with them going up in guarantees, they came down on the APY. I think with them coming down the APY, I think Barkley's camp, I wouldn't say Barkley himself, but Barkley's camp were like, well, no, we've got what we wanted, but we want the annual to sort of stay similar, if not just a little bit more. And with them coming down from the average annual per year, I think that was kind of the maybe not the straw that broke the camel's back, but that was kind of the thing where, like, the Giants have gone, look, we'll meet you halfway by going up in guaranteed money, but we're going to bring the average per down. Now, Barkley has come out multiple times and said that he doesn't want to reset the market, and that but he believes he is the best running back in the league, which I agree with. I think on his day he's undoubtedly the best running back in the league. But the highest player getting paid at the moment is Christian McCaffrey, who team that gave him that contract ended up trading him. So do you think they were happy to give them that much money, if they were willing to trade him away? Anyway, that's for another discussion, which this will rumble on for a few weeks, I think, because, everyone will want to know what the crack is. But I think, I don't know, I kind of hoped it would get done, but I'm also not surprised it hasn't, because I kind of a little bit like Joe Sheehan's resolve here. I kind of like the way that, he played a little bit hardball, and like he shows that, I am molding this team the way I believe it should be, and by the way, the market value and so on. So, it would have been nice to get the deal over the line. He's the franchise player. He's the face of the franchise. The Tish and Mara family absolutely love him. So it's one of those things. I'm surprised it didn't get done, but also I'm not surprised at all, because we always had that franchise tag, and whether you like it or not, it's in the rules. It's in the CBA. The players union agreed this, so it's not like there's something that's been forced on them. It's something that they've given something to get something, and part of that is in the CBA is the tag, whether you like the tag or not. So short answer, that was a long answer. The short one is yes, surprised, not surprised either.
I think it's interesting when you kind of look how close they are, and that neither team did blink. Like Barkley obviously has that number in his mind that he feels like he's worth, and Joe Shane has that number that he feels like the market's worth. However, I agree with what Kev's saying. It's not a surprise, and there's one reason that it's not a surprise, and that's Joe Shane. You look at what he did with DJ, he didn't blink, did he? He was willing to go all the way up to that deadline and risk having to either tag Barkley or tag Jones and figure out which way he was going to go. But at no point did he go, crap, I'm going to have to make a decision now because I've only got half an hour. He literally went all the way to the wire. And you've got to say, that's some big balls on the GM there for doing that and being able to go, you know what, I'm not going to kind of bend. I'm just going to stick with my laurels. And at the end of the day, if nothing happens, he always knew he had that franchise tag fall back on. If that wasn't in place, maybe this is a different conversation. But the franchise tag really kind of was the kind of cement that kept everything together without having to make leeway either side.
So basically, what you two are saying, it is what it is.
Yeah, man.
Now, I'm surprised it didn't get done. Simple reasons is, so let's look at Saquon Barkley's career earnings. He's earned 48 million since he got drafted in 2018, including the tag this year. So let's face facts, he's not short of a few bob. He's also got a variety of sponsorship deals that are ongoing, jersey sales, etc. So he didn't need the money. So to me, so well, if you're a couple of million short, why not say, look, you drafted me. Sorry, that's Saquon. I'm having the same conversation with him now. Now,
You wish.
Yeah, I do. On one hand, it's like, I don't know why you didn't turn and say, look, you drafted me in 2018. Since you've drafted me, we've been shit, but we're turning it around. I've said I want to be here for it. You know what? Give me a 2-year deal. I'm covered for the next 2 years. I'll come down a little bit. But at the same time, I'm also a little bit annoyed at the Giants, because if it was just 2 million, I'm not being funny, what's 2 million to the Giants right now? It's not like we're going to go out and sign somebody in free agency that's going to change the season for us. So like, just if it's over 2 million, just get it done, just get it sorted. It stops all this off-season talk, all this training camp talk, stops things dragging out, etc. So like, I am quite surprised it didn't get done. But at the same time, if I'm Saquon, when that deadline hit, first thing I'm doing is I'm calling my agent up and going, what has just happened over the last couple of months? Because, okay, the agent turned the deal down in the season. Am I fine with that? Yeah, I am. You don't accept the first deal. If you're buying a house, if you're selling your house and someone offers $5,000 under the asking price, you don't accept it straight away. You're going to play hardball. So I can understand why it was turned down. But based on the contracts that were, or in this case, weren't handed out to running backs, Zeke Elliott done pretty well for the Cowboys, still a free agent. Dalvin Cook been pretty productive over the last few years, currently a free agent. So at some point, someone's got to have said, either whether it's Saquon himself or his agent, they've got to have gone, look at the market. It's not what we thought. We've misjudged it. There's players that are of a similar quality to yourself, because let's face it, Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott, they ain't bums. Yeah, Zeke's dropping off a little bit, but Dalvin Cook, they're good running backs. You could get them, bring them in, and they're going to do a job for you. So they should have turned around and said, look, let's just get ourselves locked down, security for 2 years. Because if we play under this tag, if you blow your ACL out in the first week, you're screwed next year. If you think this year was a bad year, next year's going to be even worse. So, I am quite frustrated he didn't get done. And I do, I wish it had been done, especially for such little money that we believe that they were within to getting the deal done.
To be honest, I'm in the same boat as you, Shane. I think I was quite surprised the deal didn't get done. It frustrated me, because now we go into, a key part of the off season. We go into training camp with this uncertainty, and who knows what's going to happen with him over the next couple of weeks, couple of months. We'll come on to it shortly. But what's he going to do? Is he going to play? Is he going to sit? Is he going to come? Is he going to turn up to camp? You bloody hope he's going to turn up to camp, but obviously he doesn't have to. So I don't like the uncertainty. I don't like the deal not being done. I think they could have quite easily met in the middle and gone, let's just get it done. Let's look up the future. We don't want the media circus, especially in New York. We don't want that media circus having all eyes on us during camp. Let's get it done. Let's focus on camp and focus on the beginning of the season. And now this is going to overshadow potentially going into camp and into the season. And it's just, for me, it's frustrating, because we could have had a really, really solid camp and a really solid start to the season. I still think we will, but biggest weapon without a doubt, Saquon Barkley, the doubt is there over him now. So as Tony said, to quote the Godfather, it's business, not personal. I get that. But I also agree that Joe Shane is, I trust in him. I trust his decision. I trust what he's doing. And I think for the team and for the franchise, I think the decisions he's made so far in his tenure have been fantastic. I don't agree with this not being done. I don't think it's a great, great situation to be in. But at the same time, I think I still trust in Joe Shane that he has made the right decision. Whether it's, I don't believe it now, but long term, I think it could potentially be the right decision.
Yeah, just to add a quick note to this point particularly. You said, like, you're surprised no one blinked. I kind of feel Joe Sheehan didn't have to blink. I think it would have to be Barkley's side. I mean, the way I kind of look at it, Joe Sheehan seems like the type of GM that believes running back shouldn't be paid at a top premium. Obviously, we're talking about someone other than other top running backs, talking about Saquon Barkley. But like, if he wants, I don't know, 3 years at 14 per year with 23 guaranteed, like, and you're going to drop him from 10.1 this season, drop it all the way down to 7 or 8. That means you're going to be paying what, 42, take 78 off that. So 2 years you're going to be paying a running back then for 2 seasons for 16, 17 million per season. Whereas Joe Sheehan has him now for a tag at 10.1. And then next year they have the facility to tag him again at 12 million. So it was always like Joe Sheehan was always the side that didn't need to blink in this instance.
Yeah, man, he was always going to have the team were always going to have the upper hand in this. It was always going to be down to Barkley and his agent, and for them to come close to the number that the offer was on the table. But talking about obviously the money side of things, I saw a stat the other day which was quite interesting. The average salary for running backs in the NFL. Obviously, bear in mind this covers all running backs, not just the number one sort of stars. The average salary for all running backs in the NFL is $1.2 million. The average salary for an NFL kicker is almost $2.5 million. So the fact that number is so low for those running backs shows that actually he was going to, we all knew he was going to be paid towards the top end. But it just goes to show that I think we're again probably going to come into it later, but maybe the value of the position is declining a little bit.
I think just with that, just a small bit of context is kickers a starting position. You have one kicker in the team in the starting position, whereas there's so many running backs who are third string, fourth string, and so many of them on rookie deals. So many of them on like $750K a year. Cost management sort of and GMs love having those type of players on their team. So it's a little bit skewed, but I 100% get the point you're making.
Yeah, I mean, there's 32 kickers in the NFL. There's probably 4 or 5 times that in terms of running backs in the NFL. I get that completely, but it was just a really sort of like, oh, okay, wow, it's a big difference there. But Saquon, it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyone else got anything to add on that, or should we carry on? No. All right. So now, for the first time in Big Blue UK and Ireland history, we thought we'd try something slightly different. So we reached out to some listeners to invite them in to give their views on the Barkley sort of no deal situation. So, producer Craig, who got up first? Who's joining us?
So, Jamie, do you want to give me the thumbs up? Make sure you're good. He is good. We're going to add him in. Hello, buddy. You are on mute, so I'll just unmute you for now. Or you should be able to unmute yourself, actually, I think.
There we are.
Cool. There you go. Right. There we go. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, guys. It's obviously good listen as always, and plenty of talking points.
Evening, Jay. How you doing, bud? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been an interesting week, to say the least. And like the word I've used is ballsy, like you said. Our GM, it's good to have Joe Shane pulling the shots as opposed to Dave Gettleman, because we know Dave Gettleman would have probably given him like 20 million a year.
Yeah, man. So what do you make of the whole situation? What's your take on it?
I think at time when I saw the debt, like the difference of 2 million, I was just like, with the cap probably going up as well, when we're paying so many people, like, let's say the opposite side of the ball, Leonard Williams, so much money, 2 million wouldn't have made much of a difference for somebody that not only creates like mismatches in the rushing game, but also in the receiving game. I think he's like our 4th highest receiver. But again, like you said, it's the running back, how people perceive running backs. Like is the value gone down so much because of committees? We saw Joe Shane and Buffalo Bills have a committee, so it's like, well, we're not paying you a good load of money. But also with the quarterbacks, look at Daniel Jones. He's got his legs and he seems to be quite mobile as well. So is that another avenue that they're looking at? But also, as much as I love Saquon, it's no coincidence he's had, quite serious injuries as well. I know he's bounced back last year, but is that a sort of flag or a factor that Shane's looking at and thinking, we're not going to overpay him? But also he could be putting a marker down there to everybody else, not just Saquon, to say, if you all think you can come at me and say you want money, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you make a fair point there. In his injury history is that a factor in this whole decision? What do you guys reckon? Is the fact that he's had serious injuries in the past a factor in Joe Shane not giving him the money he wants?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's definitely one of the factors. Like, you have that tag there in place for sort of situations like this. A franchise player being tagged in the franchise tag kind of is there to say, okay, do it again. Show me what you've done and do it again. And don't get me wrong, that would have been used on Daniel Jones if they weren't able to get the deal done last minute. Just to touch on something quickly that Jimmy said as well about saying Leo Williams and his contract currently. I mean, his contract is an abomination. It's an absolute joke. Like how he's on the books for 32 million this year is shocking. And but one thing I will say, that's not a Joe Shane contract. That's a Dave Gettleman contract. He said if Dave Gettleman was handing out a Saquon handing a contract to Saquon, who was touched by the hand of God, yeah, I would see you might get closer to 20 million than 10. But with Joe Shane as well, I think you can kind of see why hasn't he extended Leo Williams as well? Like the option to get the cap down would have been extending Leo Williams to get his cap number down this year and spread it into future years. But again, I think Leo Williams is on that sort of show me. I mean, everyone's auditioning now for maybe apart from Sexy Dexy and DJ, everyone's auditioning now for new contracts with Joe Sheehan, and he's shown that he is no mug, as Jimmy just said.
Yeah, man, totally agree. It's Dave. We all know how bad a decision maker Dave Gettleman was, but the fact that we've now got Joe Shane on board and he knows how to make a good decision. As I said, I trust in him wholeheartedly, and I think no matter what decision has been made so far, I think with Saquon, I think it's been made for the good of the team. It's just like I said just a minute ago. It's just disappointing for me that the deal didn't get done, personally. But yeah, so Jay, anything else you want to add in before you?
No, I just think, like I say, I think it's just the running back thing. He makes magic moments happen. It's Saquads, and he seems to be a good locker room guy as well. So hopefully, like you say, it doesn't rumble on into the locker room where this leader and this captain in the locker room, that it goes into training camp. If he sits out, he sits out, but hopefully he's there fighting ready for week 1, because at the end of the day, it benefit him going through the season into next season. That if the market does pick up, then hopefully he'll be a big blue for life, won't he?
Yeah, and I think you make another valid point. Obviously, he is a team captain, so there are players on the squad that look up to him. His colleagues in the running back room, they're all going to look up to him, and he makes unbelievable plays with his legs and with his hands as well. He's the most dangerous weapon we've got on the field. So yeah, it's just disappointing for me that the deal's not got done. But I'm sure further down the line, it'll all work out for the best. That's it. Fingers crossed, Jay.
Cool.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Cheers, guys. I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, take it easy, mate.
And you obviously love Barkley because you got his jersey on.
As if by magic, eh? I had to copy somebody, didn't I?
Take care, mate. See you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Alrighty.
Right.
Craig, who's next?
Rob is up next. Rob kindly was one of our question askers for our 100th. In fact, all 3 of these guys were. So big thank you for that. So Rob, I'm going to add you in now. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good. How you doing?
Ooh,
fantastic, mate. Love your background. Has it got the NY logo at midfield?
I'm there, but yeah, it hasn't got the new logo in the middle. Yeah, so I'm covering it up.
That's cool, man.
Kev, I'm off to Miami. I'm off to the Dolphins game out there. So you need to let me know those bars that you went to that too expensive. So I'm getting
Far too bad. We did find some really cool, like sort of in the more Camden type area, called Winwood. It was like a lot more reasonable there with some real like Latin flavor. Yeah, it was really cool place, man.
That sounds good to me.
Nice.
So yeah, touching on Barkley, I mean, a couple of things. Sort of listening to what you've said, I think sort of a lot of people sort of say, "Oh, just get rid of him. He's not worth it." We can. Part of the draft, you pick someone up in the 7th round, or we've got Gray or whatever. But I think if you flip that and we were in a world where there was no salary cap, not one of those people that say, "Oh, he's easily replaceable," would say he's easily replaceable. It's just a convenient thing to have. So I think that's sort of one side of looking at it. And I think a flip side of that is if you look sort of between, I don't know, when we had Bradshaw and Jacobs up until we had Barkley, and Barkley's injury years, and some of the running backs we've had that have been very functional, like, we had Jennings with Darkwa, we've had like Derek Ward with Gorman, and there's been a time where they've hit a bit of momentum and stuff like that, and a time we're like, we'll ride the Gorman train, or, whatever, and we'll go with that. But it shows that the run game can still be serviceable without him. But I would say by having Barkley, whatever our record would be, we're going to get at least one more win for having Barkley. I mean, you look at like the Tennessee games to start the season, that play on the on the 2-point conversion wins the game. And I'm on board with us not overpaying for him. And you look at the way the position's gone, and the value for it, and that's that's not our fault. But I trust Shane. We've got a good regime in place. But you just can't overpay the running backs at the moment. As you've all said, it is what it is.
Exactly, mate. It is what it is. But
I think the sort of the one thing, if you look at sort of Barkley doesn't really have any leverage, at the moment. And I think, for me, if it was, we could sign Barkley for, the tag on 2 years, he's going to play every game, he's going to start training camp, I'd sign up for that. Like, that would be because of the decline of the running back, the age. That seems a good kind of, that's for the fan. I think the sort of best case scenario. But I think he's in a situation where, I mean, we want him. We don't stay up till 4:30 in opening night to not see Barkley play, do we? So want him there. But I think if he holds out the first game of the season, maybe even the first two. Because once his season's finished, he's probably just going to get the tag again. So if he holds out the first game or two, then, Joe Shane and that can be like, okay, actually, yeah, perhaps we've got to pay this guy properly now because we've missed him for a couple of games and he, we can't do it. Hopefully he doesn't. But yeah, I don't know what you guys think of that as a strategy for him. But
I mean, it makes some valid points. Shane, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Rob said in terms of like the wins. I think if you take Saquon Barkley out of last year's team, I think we're at least two games worse off. He's the kind of player who he's going to go and win your games. And, for me, you always want to keep your best players. And Saquon is one of your best players. I mean, there's going to be a lot of chatter about if he sits, if he doesn't sit. I personally don't think he will. There's obviously been that interview that came out, was it last week? I think it was, that's doing the rounds on YouTube and Twitter and that. And, he kind of hints at it, but I just don't think I don't think deep down he's that type of player. And like mentioned, the biggest thing that's going to hinder him is if he just pick up an injury at all. Hopefully he doesn't. He's only really had he's had the one season where obviously he tore his ACL. And then, he's had a couple of little niggling injuries, but he still played 16 games last year. The only game he didn't play was the Philly game because players were rested. He played 16 games his rookie season. He played 13 games coming off the back of his ACL injury. So whilst he has missed time, I think I fully believe, he gets little niggles like his shoulder that he kind of picked up again in the Green Bay game and that. But, I think if Saquon was to sit out this year, I'll probably even go as far to say I think we lose 3 less games. We have 3 less wins on the record if Saquon was to sit this year.
Especially if Waller's injured. I think if we've got Waller healthy all season, I'll make that 2 losses. If Waller's out, then it's 3.
I mean, that's the thing though, because Barkley, we've said he is like the man, and he's a difference between potentially winning a game and losing a game. Like you said, Rob, that the Tennessee game week 1 last season, if he doesn't make that play on the 2-point conversion, we don't win that game. But do you see Matt Breida making that play in his place? Do you see Gary Brightwell making that play in his place?
I think some of the names that I said earlier. I think outside of Brandon Jacobs, running the play differently and piling through everyone. I don't think any running back from Jacobs and Bradshaw to today make that play. I think especially the way that was designed in that scheme. He's the only, and to be honest, outside of maybe a Christian McCaffrey and like that, there's only 2 or 3 in the NFL that are making that play, and that's when it matters the most.
Yeah, man, exactly, and you're not wrong. There's not many players that make that play.
I think Rob makes a great point as well about Waller. Like, let's look at worst case scenario now. So I'm gonna go into like the bad part of my outlook.
Oh, here's Mr. Negative coming out. Come on, then, Shane.
Saquon sits the season. Waller has had his injury problems. We've signed Paris Campbell, who's had injury problems. We've got offensive tackling Evan Neal, who's had injury problems. If you look at it, if Saquon was to sit the season, and then all these players, Wandale's coming back from injury. Sheppy's at some point going to end up on IR this season. Let's be perfectly honest with you. All of a sudden, we've gone from, you could be quite optimistic about this roster if it's fully fit, but if it's not fully fit, it's a very depleted roster in all honesty. So Rob makes a great point about Waller, and like I say, the other players, especially the wide receivers, we've got coming back from injury as well.
Don't you mean that it makes a very Giants roster if there's a lot of people injured? Because that seems to be just what the Giants roster always is at the moment.
I mean, Kev's shaking his head and grinning like he doesn't agree at all.
Right.
He's just like, no, it's rubbish.
No, it's not that I don't agree. It's just like, why don't think it into existence, please, people? Come on, let's stay positive. This is the off season. We should be thinking about all these injuries. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I agree. Rob, appreciate you coming on, man. Really thanks very much. And made some great points, man. So catch you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
Right.
All right.
Shane's going to be happy now because it's about to get a bit more West Bromwich in here. He's going to have a fellow Albion fan.
Hang on,
right.
let me put my subtitles on.
As I said, do you need a translator or something? Because now might be a good time to get Siri or whatever you use.
Ready.
Here we go. Here he is. Here's Steve. Hello, mate.
Here he is.
How you doing, boys?
Yeah, all
good, mate. How you doing?
Can you hear me all right, yeah? Shane was contacting you about the tickets for the Blackburn game by any chance?
Say that again, sorry, mate.
The Saquon texting you about the tickets for the Blackburn game. So your phone
he wants a couple of tickets. He said, sort of deal, and I'll get you sorted.
Is that for early September, is it?
You've got something to do, boys. So.
Fair one. All right, Steve, what do you make of the Barkley situation?
Shane's done the right thing here.
Yeah. Why do you think that?
Shane's done the right thing. Why pay X amount of money when the guy has an ACL problem anyway?
I mean, it's a valid point. We've said a few minutes ago about his obviously injury history, and maybe he has made the right decision in terms of would it be too much of a risk to pay him if he's got that risk of injury? But I think, like I said, I think he's such a weapon. You want to lock him up and make sure that he's with us for the foreseeable future. Do you not think so?
I do, but at the same time, we're not as reliant on him this time out what we were last year. When you think last season we had no real weapons at wide receiver, but going into this season, we've got a good 3 or 4 at wide receiver. We've got 2 good quality tight ends. I don't think the emphasis is going to be on him as much now.
Yeah, I think we do have more more depth at receiver position for sure, and obviously with Waller coming in now as a tight end as well, we've definitely got more weapons on the offense. But Barkley is the face of the franchise. Dan Jones is sort of second, close second behind him. But when you think of the Giants in since 2018, you think of one guy, and that's Saquon Barkley. So I think like I've said earlier, I trust in Jay Shane's decision. I trust in him fully, but at the same time, for me, it's still disappointing that the deal wasn't done. What do you reckon, Craig?
I mean, yeah, we've already said it, haven't we? It is disappointing that the deal hasn't been done. I think you can look at it in a multifaceted way, in the fact that there's trepidation from both sides. It was reported that Barkley said he didn't want to take the deal that was given to him in the bye week last year because he only had 3 days to think about it, and he really wanted to hold off to the end of the season, so he had longer to think about it. But I think the Giants were quite clear with that deal as well, that the offer that was on the table took into consideration his injury record. And then obviously you come into the off season and the running back market just tanked. And that definitely didn't help his cause, especially seeing as he is going to be offered something lower because, I'm going to steal from KB, Mr. Burton, who was on here last week. But, the best ability is availability. And that's something that you have to bear in mind when signing any player to a contract, regardless of whether it's a year, 2 years or long term. So I think, I do think Joe Shane's done the right thing by sticking to his guns. And I think the injury side of things was probably a big factor in that.
Yeah, and just to add that as well, I know like obviously Steve isn't too much of a running backs fan. We're sitting there wearing his wide receiving Jamison Crowder jersey. Or it might be Cruz. It might be, I don't know, but
it's got to be it's got to be Cruz, right?
I'd love it if it was Jamison Crowder. I'd absolutely love it. But no, I mean, I actually probably think the final offer on the table from Joe Shane and the Giants, I believe that was maybe higher than Joe Shane wanted to go, because I think he's the type of GM that doesn't value the running backs like that, and knows that this is going to be a more of a passing offense going forward. Hence the reason that Steve alluded to as well. We've got, we thought we had it. Well, we did have a starting to caliber tight end who was making great strides, and we went and got a star. We had a very, very weak at the wide receiver room last year, and we went and got a lot of capable, talented, number twos. So. And the offensive line, I think, will take a jump this year. So I think we will pass the ball more. So I do kind of think, again, I believe what Steve has said. I think she, in my opinion, has done the right thing here by sticking to his beliefs, going as far as he wasn't comfortable in going, in my opinion. I think he might have gone a little bit further, but Barkley's team weren't ready to meet him there. But, he's still a Giant. He's still playing this year, and he still will be on our roster. And he still will be a weapon. Just stay healthy.
Yeah, and I think that's the point to take away from all of this is that he is still a New York Giant. He is still going to be on the roster this year, and at some point, no doubt he will. Whether it's in week 1 or further down the line, at some point he probably will suit up and play a game, playing. So that is an important point to remember. Obviously, everybody's got their opinion on this deal not being done, but he's still a New York Giant and still will be into sort of in 2024. So that's kind of the best thing to take away from this, really. Steve, you got anything else you want to add, buddy?
I will say as well about the tweet about last night. I know you can read into whatever you like. Got his feeling to get the deal done when you think he was offered more money during the bye week. He's got to get his reps for this.
Yeah, I mean, being offered more money during the bye week, obviously, it was. You got to wonder whether this deal was ever going to get done during the off season. The numbers we've sort of been shown sort of 11, 12 million when he was offered 14 during the bye week. So you got to wonder if that deal was ever going to get done at that number. But that's obviously the thing is it's a strange one, because obviously if Shane was willing to pay him 14 million during the bye week, why is he not now willing to pay him 14 million? So it's kind of like, what's going on? He just maybe wants to get the same player for a bit less money.
Well, the market crashed pretty much. The running back market just wasn't what people thought it would be this offseason.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Cool.
Craig, you going to say something? I thought you were going to say something. Looked like you were about to say something.
I was just going to say thank you.
It's offering
Go on,
weapons. I was going to say, my take on it is offering less money because of the additions we've made since.
I think that's a fair point. It's a fair point. So.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, yeah. Think of this time last year, he was the number one weapon, whereas now we've got a lot more weapons on the team. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, Steve. I appreciate that. It's good to have all three of you on, and we'll have to get you on again at some point soon.
Yeah, definitely.
And last bit of Shannon's advertising for you guys as well.
Love it.
Check you out.
Love it. Cool. Cheers, buddy.
Enjoy the mug. Enjoy the badges.
Okay, boys.
Cheers,
mate.
See you later.
Cool.
All right, Jamie, Rob, Steve, thanks for coming on to give us your thoughts on the situation. Oh, that worked quite well, didn't it, lads? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a change up. Obviously, let us know if you enjoyed that, and if you want to come on yourself, just kind of send us a DM. We're more than happy to have people on each week. Kind of the little 5-minute slots, I think, work out quite well. So yeah, just get in contact with us.
Get involved, because we love it, and I'm sure you would too. All right, now, unfortunately, Barkley is unable to sign a multi-year deal and can only agree to a 1-year contract with the Giants at the moment. So he now faces two options: to either play under the tag at 10.1 million and reevaluate next season, or to hold out free camp and potentially into the regular season as well. So the 10.1 million is roughly just under $600,000 per game. So if he does decide to sit out, then he'll be giving up that amount of money every week that he doesn't play. So in all honesty, how likely is it that he actually sits out at all this season, Craig? Do you reckon it's at all likely that he misses any games?
No, not really. I think he'll hold out till maybe 2 weeks, 1 week before the first game. And let's not kid ourselves. Was he going to play any of the preseason games? Absolutely not. Is he going to lose anything by not being in camp? Yeah, he'll lose a little bit of conditioning and maybe a little bit of the playbook that they evolve, but the majority of the scheme is probably going to stay very similar. There will obviously be new ripples to it with the additions that we've already gone through, but I don't think he does. I think we'll see him week 1.
Shane, do you reckon he's going to sit at all?
No, I don't think he will. I do think, though, it'll probably go down to the wire, maybe even less than what Craig said. I wouldn't be surprised if we're playing Dallas on Sunday and the Monday before it's still unclear if he's going to be playing. I think he's going to play hardball, and that's within his right. He can sit out, and that's his choice at the end of the day. I'll be surprised if he does sit out, and I think one of the things that's going to be curious that has been mentioned by the guys that we've had on is how this is going to sit with the locker room now. Like, how are the players all Team Barkley? Are some of them maybe like, is Andrew Thomas going, oh, hopefully this means more money for me then? Like, it kind of is that the kind of conversations that are going on? Like I said, he's a team captain at the end of the day, face of the franchise. He's well liked within the locker room, well respected. Has been really since he got drafted day one. In all honesty, like he's coming in, he's been the ultimate professional since he's landed here. So I think the key thing for me is kind of how it's going to go down in the locker room, and they've probably got one. I'd give anything to be part of that group chat.
Sounds like you already are, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, man. Your phone is pinging away like mad. But no, I mean, Kev, what do you reckon? Is he going to sit?
No, I can see it. I mean, like, I think Saquon Barkley's the type of player that he is very proud. I think he's too very, professional pride. I think would come in here. I think it looks worse for him because the thing about it is the fans all know, right? Knowledgeable NFL fans know what the franchise tag is. They know when it's used. They know how it's used. If he sits out any games, I think that's just bad blood between him and the fans. Like, we have Dallas week 1 at home with a chance to beat them and get the season off to a start. I mean, I think that's a PR disaster if he chooses not to play that game. Like, trying to hold the Giants over a barrel for that game. I mean, the fans could very, very quickly, if they get beat by one score, if we get beat by one score or something like that, all right, he might go and F you to the Giants, but the fans be like, you sat out. You had a contract. You sat out. You play. We win that game against Dallas. So I just can't see it. I mean, it's an awful lot of money to give up as well. I mean, like, I know he wants to try and do things to try and like boost the market and to try and like sort of lead for people behind him. I get all that, like, but it would be a mad Egypt, opinion. But I just can't see it. I think like we have the week now because there's only 3 preseason games. There's a week between preseason game 3 and the season, like a mini bye week for want of a better term. Like, so I'm kind of hoping he sits out the 3 preseason games. It kind of comes in with like a week and a half, like, or 2 weeks to go before the Giants, because before the Cowboys game, and that's prime time as well. That's like 1:20 in the morning for us, man. That's Sunday night football. Like Barkley has a chance to come back, say, okay, franchise tag is the only option. I'm back here because I want to win for my team. I could sit out. I could. That's my right. People have done it, but I didn't for the team, and make the Giants look bad that way. So, yeah, I just personally can't see it, to be honest. That's sort of my thoughts on it.
Nice. I don't think he's going to sit out until, as you said, right, prime time week 1. I think apart from Thanksgiving, I think week 1 Sunday night football is like the most watched regular season game of the year because it's the first week of football. Everyone's watching, and it's a huge division rivalry. It's a huge divisional game to start off the season. So there's no way Barkley misses that, because if we lose that game and he sits out that game, it's going to end up really, really messy, and fingers will start being pointed at him, and he won't like that. And what you made a sort of a point as well, Shane, about him maybe losing a bit of conditioning. I don't think he will. I think he's going to be one of these players that has a team of people around him. He probably has his own personal trainer, probably has his own physios, his own coaches, his own masseur, chiropractors, you name it. So I think his condition, I still think, will be top notch. Whether or not, if he does completely miss camp and sort of comes into the team, in the build up to week 1, whether or not he's included in the game plan as much as he potentially could have been if he hadn't sat out camp, who knows? He might be used a bit more sparingly, and the other sort of running backs used in certain sets, just to sort of get him started and get him sort of firing on all cylinders, because they wouldn't have seen anything of him during training camp. So I think week 1, if he does sit out during camp, I think week 1 we might see a little bit less of Barkley, but he still will take the field.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think like it's Saquon Barkley here, going back to that professional pride, he will be fit. I mean, he's not injured. He's coming off a season where he's not injured. He's not rehabbing anything this year coming into the year. Showed how good a season he had last year. He'll be fit enough and ready enough. And let's not be naive. He will be getting those new plays through to him that he can kind of practice with people. Whether someone's a little sliding into DMs with certain things like tips and stuff like that, he'll have it pretty well known. And like I said, I do believe he will come in before the mini bye week, so he'll have a few days to be able to get some stuff down.
Yeah. No, obviously, if he does sit out, then
I think the other important thing as well is Saquon Barkley tweets out, it is what it is. What does that do? It creates a talking point. What does that even mean? Is he accepting it? Is he respectful of it? Is he annoyed? Is he disgruntled? What does playing week 1 do? Allows him to express himself. He gets that first down. He can express how he feels. He gets that touchdown. That first touchdown of the season, his celebration could be quite telling, to be fair. You know, he could just sort of be head down, whatever. And then you can look at it, you can go, you know what? Ultimate professional. He's not playing to the cameras, which I don't think he will, to be fair. But it'll be a case of he's just getting on with it. I've got my touchdown, going back to the sideline, ready to get back on the field again. Or he could make a gesture to the camera, or, you know, being on the field allows him to really express himself, and it'll be a way to find out which kind of Saquon Barkley we're going to get. Are we going to get the professional that we know, or we might be going to see a different side to Saquon that we've not really seen?
Just to know, well, that interview as well, I was watching it. It was Money Matters, I think was the YouTube channel, whatever it is, talking about money. And it was the week before. And I don't know, was that fella putting some ideas in his head, like, you know, making him sort of rethink certain things? I kind of got the feel he was kind of like thinking about things while he was on that interview. But a part of me really would like him to change his representation, to be honest. I don't think he's been represented very well throughout this whole situation. And I don't think Joe Sheehan is too happy with them either.
For some reason, I wouldn't come off mute then. I kept pressing, nothing. I mean, I completely agree with that. I think his representatives have let him down. And, you know, he should be looking elsewhere and potentially looking to change his agents, because, you know, for whatever reason, this deal hasn't got done. You know, you got, like you said earlier, Shane, the first thing you're going to be looking at is that your agent. Be like, what the hell has just happened? What the hell's just happened in the last 3, 4, 5 months? Why have I not got a new contract? Why is my long-term future not tied up to this team? So yeah, agree with that.
And just one last point on that as well. We don't know the situation with endorsements. Like, whoever he's sponsored by is in there. Like, if you're not on the field, you're not getting paid X amount of money from us either, because we want you to be on the field to show the product is Saquon Barkley that we pay all this money to. Just another thought.
Yeah, so he's going to lose out even more money from his endorsements. Now, obviously, if he does sit out, the Giants have to sort of decide which of their three other backs sort of will become the lead. Obviously, you've got the experienced Matt Breida, you've got our mate Gary Brightwell, and also rookie Eric Gray on the roster. And is there any others? Or is it just those three? It's just those three, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you got Deshaun Corbin, but I don't think he's
Jason Corbin
high up enough on the depth chart for me to put him in.
No. But the team could look to potentially pick up an additional player, or maybe they may look at someone sort of like Paris Campbell, who has worked out with the running backs during minicamp. But if Barkley does sit out, you know, hypothetically, which one of the other three backs that I just listed there, so Breida, Brightwell, Gray, which one of those three stands to gain the most if Barkley does sit out, Shane?
I think it's hard to look past Eric Gray, to be honest with you. You know, he's new into the league, pretty fresh. Probably gonna have a bit of a point to prove. You know, I think I would have had him higher than a 5th round. He went in the 5th round, so he's gonna have a bit of a point to prove. And like, let's face facts. Everyone loves a rookie running back. Everybody loves a rookie running back coming into the league and just setting it on fire. Whether it's Saquon Barkley taken 2nd overall or Isaiah Pacheco, who was a 7th round talent, everyone loves rookie running backs. So yeah, you know, I've got to go for Eric Gray. I think if I'm him, I'm secretly thinking, I hope Saquon holds out. If I'm Eric Gray, I'm secretly thinking, hold out Saquon. You know, in the running backs group chat, I'm messaging saying, yeah, I'd sit if I was you, mate. You can't risk getting injured again. Like, you know, I mean, and rubbing my hands thinking, this is my chance to prove it now. Breida will probably start. Let's say Saquon 6 week 1. Braida's probably going to start as RB1. But if he's at the season, Eric Gray, 100%, he's probably RB1 by week 8, maybe even week 6, in my opinion.
Okay, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be licking his chops
like
only. Yeah, I mean, Eric. I mean, like, Breida's a known commodity now. Do you know what I mean? He will get the starting carries. You know, he will, and he will start the preseason games. But as we've seen, preseason games, the starters don't play very often. Don't play for too long. So this is valuable for Eric. Eric is going to get like maybe twice as many snaps as he would have got before in practice. But also in the preseason game, he's going to get so many now, and they're valuable. I mean, I was like just thinking about what Shane was saying. Can you maybe imagine he snaps off 100-yard game and a couple of touchdowns in preseason? Everyone will be like, it won't be forget Barkley. It won't be Barkley who, but it will be like, okay, we kind of got something here. Yeah, exactly. It will be like that. It's opened a bit of a door for him, and it'd be mad not to take it and run with it.
Boom, boom. I think I agree. I do think if you look at it long term, Eric Gray would be the sort of lead back, but it does depend on obviously one if he sits, and two how long he sits for. Kev, you might know more about this, but I think he's got until mid-November to sign his franchise tag. If he doesn't, he cannot play. So he can sign it up to then, and come in immediately after he signed it. But anything past that, it's tough. He cannot sign it at all for the rest of the season. I think week one, if he sits week one, Breida will be the lead back. And I think that's purely an experience kind of thing where Breida kind of knows exactly what's needed. And with Gray being, a little bit green still, they might just kind of ease him in a little bit more. But if Barkley sits long term, it will only be a few weeks until Gray takes that spot, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think this is all looking towards an exciting preseason and camp for Eric Gray, and I think it gives him the opportunity during those 3 preseason games to really shine and really sort of show what he's capable of doing, and give us fans a glimpse into why we did draft him and why why he's on the roster, because he's obviously a talented guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing that during the preseason, because it almost reminds me sort of Victor Cruz. It'd be like you said, it'd be nice if he sort of broke off that 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns, because then that would really put him on the radar of not just Giants fans, but fans around the league as well, and other teams around the league as well. They're going to sort of stand up and really sort of see, oh wow, these guys have got a pretty decent talent on their hands and on their books. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Eric Gray stands to gain the most out of it if Barkley does sit out.
There's
one angle that
2 dynasty fantasy leagues, I've took Eric Gray. If anyone ain't done a dynasty draft yet, rookie draft, Eric Gray's great value.
But also, just with them sitting out quickly, I'm not 100% sure what the rules are. But if he sits out, then who owns his rights for the following season? Does he become a free agent, or can the Giants just tag him again?
Then they can just tag him again.
I would assume so.
I mean, but is it tag 1, and then they can tag him again in the second year, third year?
No, I don't think so. I think it's subsequent years. It would still count as franchise tagging him technically. It's just that he hasn't signed the tender.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if he does sit out the week 1, then yeah, Matt Breida's going to start. He will, but you'd be a fool if Eric Gray has a good preseason. You'd be a fool to not use Eric Gray in that game against Dallas, especially as a third down back. And you'd also be, maybe give our mate Gary a few carries here and there, see if he can, make some magic happen. Who knows? Go on, our mate Gary. Get it done. One angle, though, that some analysts and fans have taken is that this is all Daniel Jones's fault. Bloody Daniel Jones. His demands for a new contract are to blame for Barkley not getting his. Now, we all know that if the Giants had tagged DJ, then he would have had, a $32 million cap hit as played under the franchise tag, which would have massively affected our capability to actually pick up free agents that we really, really needed. So is Dan Jones to blame? Kev, what do you reckon? It's all his fault, right?
Oh, of course it is, because everyone loves throwing a bit of shit at Daniel Jones. But I'll tell you what, Darius Slayton won't stand for it, so I'm not going to do it because I don't want Darius Slayton coming at me, But the thing is with this, right? if we had to have tagged Daniel Jones, that's 32 million. And like you said, we wouldn't have got our Ashawn Robinson. We wouldn't have been able to trade for Darren Waller. We wouldn't have been able to sign Bobby Okereke to shore up the defense. Like we would have been so much more tightly structured. Like 22 million, we wouldn't have had to sign these players. So I mean, it just worked out. I hate to say it, but kind of perfectly, in my opinion. I mean, you got Daniel Jones signed to a long-term deal to go and show that he can be the franchise QB, and you've got Saquon Barkley for this season as well. So I really, really don't understand all this hate for Daniel Jones. Like, man, it's like it's an easy target, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, not at all. I think Joe Sheehan has played this, as close to perfect as possible. I mean, a long-term Giants-friendly deal would have been perfect, obviously, but you can't get everything. But this is as close to that as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, just touching on that Slayton thing. If you want a man in the trenches, Slayton is your boy, right? Oh my God, Jesus, he is happy to swing for the fences on Twitter. But you're right. Yeah, DJ doesn't deserve the hate because, and let's be honest, all DJ does is sign that piece of paper. He doesn't dictate the amount of money that is put in front of him. Yes, they could have walked away, but at the end of the day, someone throws a contract in front of me and says, you signed up for 4 years, you're going to make, 86 million guaranteed or something around that number. Very quick signature, very, very quick signature from me. I think it's very easy to attack Daniel Jones, and it's very easy to blame everything on Daniel Jones. I think even if he wasn't signed and he wasn't with the team, it would still be his fault. So it's just the mentality that's there. I put out a tweet on our Twitter page the other day about Colin Cowherd, who turned around and said that the reason that the Giants are in this situation is because they're trapped with Daniel Jones. And I mean, I don't know how Americans listen to some of these pundits. It's all just to get the clickbait in, isn't it? Because we're not trapped with Daniel Jones. I mean, the deal's actually quite friendly and there's the out. So it's not the end of the world. It is what it is. And who's to say if Daniel Jones didn't get tagged or did get tagged, sorry, who's to say that Barkley's deal would have gone up? Who's to say we offered Barkley more money? You're all talking in hypotheticals that we're just never going to find out. So,
Shane, it's got to be Dan Jones' fault, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows I'm not a great DJ fan, so screw number 8. We ain't got 2-6. What's that all about? I think in an ideal world, we would have signed Saquon because we would have took DJ's 5th-year option, or we would have not took it and signed DJ for a lot cheaper. But we didn't know how DJ was going to perform at that time. And people are entitled to their opinions, just like I'm entitled to mine, and you guys all yours and that. But for me, my opinion is people that are blaming Daniel Jones, it's a very lazy take and it's a very clueless take. That's what it is, in my opinion. I think it's a stupid take. I don't understand where you've got that logic from. Like Kev says, if we'd have tagged DJ, we wouldn't have had the players that we wouldn't have had the offseason that we've ended up having. We might very well have had to say, what, although it wasn't much money, we're going to have to move back in the first round, and then we might not have got Deontay Banks, and it's all a domino effect of what it could have been. But as I say, it's not ideal world. We would have signed Saquon probably for a lot cheaper. We could have done it last year. We'd have got DJ for probably 10 million cheaper potentially. But unfortunately, that's life. That's not how life works out for us, where we can just, see a perfect world and how everything's going to pan out and do it all perfectly. And that's what makes sport and football as fun as what it does, that it doesn't always turn out perfectly.
And just add a little context as well. I mean, like on average per year salary, Saquon Barkley on the franchise tag is the 6th highest paid running back. And on Daniel Jones's current contract, he is the 12th highest paid quarterback, with players like Joe Burrow and Herbert still to get paid yet. So it's apples and oranges. Like, you can't really compare the two positions either.
No, and I think for me, it's almost like people have gone, wait, Dan Jones's number is 32 and Barkley was wanting this much. So if Jones hadn't signed for that much, then Barkley could have more money. No. Those people that are giving Dan Jones hate are absolute fools. If you look at I'm not even going to go there. You're stupid. You're absolutely stupid. Like,
Don't
that's what I'm gonna
lose
say.
listeners, Daniel, please. If you,
I mean, if you truly believe that this is Daniel Jones's fault, then you're stupid. You really are. And then, to be fair, everybody loves to hate on Dan Jones a bit, don't they? Really. So give him a bit of love for once. Come on. He's just signed a new big deal. He's proven himself to the team, and he's proven that he can do it in this league. So he fully deserves that contract. So leave him alone. Go back to your hole that you crawled out of, and carry on. And stop giving Dan Jones so much hate. He doesn't deserve it.
And if you could give us a 5-star review, that'd be brilliant.
I mean, why would they not after that? But Barkley wasn't the only running back to not agree a deal before the deadline. Tony Pollard of the Cowboys, Josh Johnson of the Las Vegas Raiders, the leading rusher in the league last year. Obviously, both in the same situation. Brandon Jacobs obviously came out in support of Barkley yesterday as well, which was, Brandon Jacobs to me epitomizes a Giants running back. And I just want to add as well, if anybody has seen that picture of Brandon Jacobs and his 13 and 16-year-old sons respectively, then my God, his genes are good. But he came out in support of Barkley yesterday, and the position of running back in general, really. He said running backs are needed. No position, as you can see on the screen, no position on the field is better. Your most explosive players by far. And if the NFL won't respect them, then they should get rid of the position. Derek Henry and Christian McCaffrey and plenty of others as well were all behind their fellow running backs. Austin Eckler, Jonathan Taylor. There's so many that are behind, and Saquon Barkley's retweeted these as well. Najee Harris, another one. So my last question then, why do you think that running back position has gotten to where it is? Because there's got to be a reason, Craig.
It's undervalued, isn't it? I mean, I'm just going to bring up one of those tweets again because I think the mentality behind the running back position is kind of overviewed in that. It's quite small, so I apologise. But on the left-hand side, Matt Miller has said, been saying it for years, you draft a running back, you play the running back. If he's good, you franchise him one time, and then you draft a running back. And I think that that's the general mentality that is in the NFL now, is that because so many players like Alvin Kamara, who I can't remember the other one that Dan was saying earlier, who was drafted quite late on. But there's a lot of depth to the position that you can pick up in the later rounds who have now come in and really taken off and taken the kind of running back mantle from some big names. And I think that's the problem, is that you can, yes, we drafted Barkley number 2 overall. A lot of people said it was a stupid decision. It killed the franchise. But at the end of the day, he was a generational talent. I mean, just look at Bijan Robinson, who was taken in the first round this year. Sometimes you use your first round pick when you get a kind of talent that Saquon or Bijan are. But because there are so many that come around now in those lower rounds, I don't think it's valued anymore because, as Kev or Dan, I can't remember who, so one of the guys alluded to, we might have had to have traded down in that first round to be able to afford our draft picks, and you're going to get a lower cost output on that as well because of the way that it's structured with rookie deals. Now, if you can draft a rookie running back in the 5th round, for example, you're going to be paying them a hell of a lot less, and you're going to be able to do what Matt Miller's saying. Now, do I agree with it? No. Do I think that the running back position is one of the most explosive on the field? Absolutely. But unfortunately, it's kind of that you've made your bed, now lie in it, because nobody's pushed for those bigger contracts, and those contracts have just shrunk and got smaller and smaller.
Shane, what do you reckon?
I'm going to kind of go against the grain here a little bit, unsurprisingly. Now, is the running back becoming a devalued position? This is a whole different conversation now, because we've just come out of an NFL draft where we've seen 2 running backs taken in the first round, not just the first round, but 2 taken in the top 12. Now, if it's becoming a devalued position, why are teams taking running backs in the top 12 at the same time? it's kind of like a bit of yin, a bit of yang, essentially. Like, you know, you can make a counter argument that, yeah, you get your Isaiah Pacheco's and your Damian Pierce's later in the draft. Don't dispute that. But then, you know, you've still had your likes of, over the years, Zeke, Saquon, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, the likes taken in the first round. So people are saying, yeah, it's a devalued position, but we're still watching running backs get drafted in the first round, like last year, Najee Harris. So it still happens. So it's kind of like, well, okay, yeah, I think what it is, it's not a bit of a devalued position. It's the contract renewal that's the problem. It's that second contract that's the issue. It's not the position itself. And like, you know, all this that's gone on with Saquon, let's not forget, none of this is personal. None of this is against Saquon. Saquon's just unfortunate the position he plays doesn't get a second contract very often. That's what it boils down to, not the position drafting and spending the draft capital, because teams are proving they're still happy to put that first round pick in there for that running back. And, you know, let's not forget, as a result, Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs are going to be paid pretty handsomely. They've already gone to that kind of top tier running back in terms of what money they're going to be earning this year and in the coming years as well. And obviously, I seen a tweet yesterday as well about Austin Eckler. I think he's called the owners out about it. He wants a meeting with owners or something in terms of these contracts and that. So I think that's what it comes down to. Not the position itself, but it's that second contract for me.
Yep.
Is it as simple as that we're moving towards a passing league now? Or, you know, I mean, and also it might be, I think it is very much moving to the passing league, but I think one of the big things as well, like they have the stats, the NFL have the stats to show that our NFL running backs production decreases massively at the age of 27. Massively. So if you've got a running back coming out, and I'll go back, exactly what that tweet said that you brought up, Craig. If you go back to a running back coming out, even the first round, comes out at 21, you have him for 4 years, fifth-year option on him, he's 26, exactly like Saquon is now, then you can tag him, he's 27, you can tag him again, he's 28. Then the likelihood is he's not going to be the player he was during that previous contract. Now, it seems to be the one position in the NFL where at that age, you can obviously see the decline so drastically for that one position. And that's what teams have in the back of their pockets, is all these things agreed to in the CBA. They have these tools to use to be able to, like I said, draft a player, keep it 4 years, and then be able to tag them. And they still go in the first round because the talent is there. But if you've got him for 5 years then, and he's 26, are you going to give a 4 or 5 year contract to someone that you kind of can predict that the production is going to fall off? It's hard. I think because there's so much wear and tear in their bodies throughout high school, throughout college. They're one of the players, you hit tackles, he gets tackled the most. The running back is the player that gets tackled the most. So all those hits from big old linebackers and D linemen, it wears on the body and they just don't last as long. So I think these are all type of factors that have come in. And I think Saquon wants to put his foot down and go, I'm doing this for the people coming behind me. And I don't know, is this the right move for him? Because if they tag him now and he plays in the tag or doesn't play in the tag, like what type of situation is going to be next year? Are they going to offer him a 4 year deal next year when he's 27? So you're going to have him on the books until he's 31, 30. It's just a really weird situation. So I'm so surprised that he didn't take the contract that was offered on the table. Unless he didn't want to, he wanted to be, he said he didn't want to reset the market at 16. Did he want 14 and 15? And he just absolutely wouldn't go anywhere below 14. And the Giants were like, no, we offered 13 and a half or whatever before, but the market's been rubbish. We've seen it. Players have gone out there and tried to get contracts at free agency. They haven't. So, we're going to try and revalue what we're going to offer you. And it all comes down as well to it's a pain, but it's cap. It's cap situation. It's not like one of the lads said earlier about a football team where you can just come in and go, well, you're the best player, we're going to sign you up again. It's not really like that. And and again, I kind of like the overview. I'm waffling a wee bit now, but the overview as well. I don't look at it it's an NFL, X players, that cute quarterback is getting paid X amount of money. I'm a better player than him. I should be getting paid somewhere close to that. I kind of look at it like different sports. Like if you're a running back, you might, the sort of NBA. If you're a quarterback, it's a sport of soccer. Like, you don't get paid you don't get paid the same money because you're sports people. You get paid money because you do a different job. And I think that's what as well. And I mean, those are just a few points that I think all come into play with this. And this stuff about collusion between like owners and GMs and stuff like that. I mean, like, why one position? If there's this much collusion or dictating the market and all that carry on, why one position? I think it's more to do with the things that we've been talking about already. But I mean, it's not good. I mean, it's not good. He's a class player and he's our best player. Like, but the market dictates what you should offer him.
I think you look at a player like Ezekiel Elliott, and he got drafted round 1 by. Was it round 1? He got drafted. Yeah, he got drafted round 1 by the Cowboys, 5th overall. Yeah. And then going into, he signed a long-term second deal. I think it was like 80-something million with 50 million guaranteed or something stupid like that. 3 years down the line, he's off the Cowboys roster and he's still a free agent. And he's 28, 27, 28. So he's still, he's in that sort of that bracket, like you said, where you sort of draft running back, so on, so on, so on. So he's almost like the perfect example of, you sign your running back to a second contract, long-term deal, big money, and it doesn't work out. And I did mean Josh Jacobs at the start, not when I said it, but not Josh Johnson. Josh Johnson's a completely different player, but but you look at those players. Josh Jacobs on the Raiders is by far and above their best player. You look at Christian McCaffrey on what is now the 49ers, and he is by far and above the best player on their offense. You look at a player like Isaiah Pacheco, who is a 7th round draft pick. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, for God's sake. You look at what's the guy at Buffalo? You said what's his name?
There's a few.
Darren Singletary.
No, it's Zach Moss at Buffalo now, and it's Singletary's gone to Houston.
Oh yeah.
Damien Harris.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned about Damien Harris. He was a 5th round pick. He got drafted by the Patriots. Is now at Buffalo. He's at Buffalo again. Look at the team that they have at Buffalo. So these running backs that are being drafted in the later rounds that are playing for these big teams, of course, they're going to be successful. These teams that produce year in, year out, Buffalo, Kansas City. Obviously, you think about the New England dynasty that we went through in the early 2000s, 2010s. You look at the running backs they had. They weren't first-round draft picks. They weren't big-time players. They were later-round picks. So, having these late-round picks on your roster, yeah, obviously it's.
As Dan, I think Dan might have
Dan's gone.
So,
but one final point I'll make on this, if that's all right, lads, is like I look at the teams like the Panthers. Do you think they are? Do you think they were happy with the contract they gave Christian McCaffrey in the end? Do you think Dallas were happy to give Ezekiel Elliott that contract? Do you think the Rams were happy to give Todd Gurley his contract? Yeah. Do you think the Vikings were glad to give Dalvin Cook his? Do you think Le'Veon Bell, the Jets, were happy to give him a good contract? Do you think the Cardinals were happy to give David Johnson that big contract? It's like, I mean, there's enough there for them to really hold back and go, do we really want to give this monster contract to a running back in the current market?
It is true. I mean, we're currently focusing on a very small sample size here, and we've spoken about Ezekiel Elliott and stuff like that. But it's systematically gone back further than that. Todd Gurley is the earliest kind of one that I can think of where, he was far and away just the best running back in the NFL. He got to the monster deal. He has an iffy season. I think he had a few injuries that season. And then he scarcely plays, and then he just falls off. I mean, you think of another Super Bowl winning running back, but and British as well, Jay Ajayi. Came out of nowhere, had a few good seasons, and bang, he's gone. It is a systematic thing, isn't it? Shane?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I still do sort of maintain that Saquon's a little bit different from all them players. He wasn't touted as like a generational talent or a surefire thing or a gold jacket kind of player for no reason. And obviously Dan lost his communication a little bit there. But if any of the listeners didn't catch what he was saying, basically he was saying that if he was an undrafted free agent on the Kansas City Chiefs, he would be 1,000-yard rusher. That's what I got from that. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I didn't hear him.
That's what I got from it. That he was saying he could succeed behind the Bills and the Chiefs O line. And
so, Mr. Chrissy T here on YouTube saying, "Is the running back market the NFL need to look into it? It's currently unfair for that position." I do think that you will. This isn't the end. This is not the last we're going to hear of this. However, it's going to rumble on, but we can only deal with what we've got. And Barkley is still a giant. He was a giant before. He was a giant the day of. He's still a giant now. Whether he signs that franchise tag or not is, that's his decision. Whatever happens, I think he needs to be careful. Not, that's not a threat in any way. I'm just saying, I think he needs to be careful with how he manages this. As Kev's already pointed out, how does this look for sponsorships? I think there's a lot on his plate that he needs to look at, and whether this is really worth it. As we said earlier, 600,000 a game that he will stand to lose. Can you afford to lose 600,000 a game? Would be nice, wouldn't it, boys? But that's the realistic way that we've got to look at this. Is it's all Saquon's decision to make, and if he suits up week one, I'm just going to add Dan back in because it looks like he's recovered. If Barkley appears on the field week one, I think all of I've got the shirt there. I'm sure Shane's got a shirt. Might even be popping it on there. See, we're all back into the hilt because he's a giant. And, as Eli Manning said, once a giant, always a giant, regardless of what happens. So, Dan, hello.
All right. I don't have there. No, I don't.
Did the missus stop peddling? Did she?
I think my laptop or internet or something's given up the ghost. So apologies.
I think we lost you just as you were saying that you'd succeed behind the Chiefs O line and the Bills O line.
So
hello,
right? Yeah,
Craig, you may need to take the lead on this to wrap things up, my friend.
I think Dan's gone.
I think so. I think Dan might be having some technical issues. So, well, funny enough, we've kind of got to the end anyway. So, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this week. However, next week we will be back to our usually scheduled order of looking through the edges and linebackers. So, look forward to the continuation of the defense. I have got something to add at the end, but I'm going to let you boys go first. Should we try Dan? Should we try Dan first, just in case?
Hello.
Have you got anything to add?
Apologies for the technical problems. And I was a bit annoyed I didn't get to finish my point, but hey ho, it's all good. It's all good.
We'll have it next week.
Thanks for tuning in, listeners and viewers. Yeah.
Cool. Right, Shane.
Yeah, I don't know if hopefully I'm not about to say something you might be saying, but if Saquon does sit out week one, don't forget that we won't be sitting out week one because we're going to be meeting up in Birmingham for the Dallas game. So Saquon may be there, may not be there, is in the game. He's not going to be in Birmingham. I can absolutely assure you of that. Just in case anyone gets the wrong end of the stick or in case I've got technical issues and I'm cutting out saying Saquon will be in Birmingham. Saquon might not be in Dallas for week one, but we will be in Birmingham to watch it all together in week one. Obviously, Kev's got a few things planned, but Craig and Dan will be there. I'm hoping to be there depending on what happens in regards to the England football team. So, yeah, make sure that you're looking at joining up for us with that. And if you've got any queries about it, drop the group a message and more than likely Craig will be replying back to you.
Oh, that was super smooth shaving. I like that. I like that. Some more of that, please. No, just to add on to that, I mean, like we all know, October 22nd, 5 o'clock meetup, legacy game against the Commanders. We'll all be down in the Sports Bar and Grill Marylebone. I've said it on here before, so I'll say it again. Anyone who turns up a legacy jersey that night, I will buy a pint at the bar. So, get down there, meet us, fans from all over the UK and Ireland. Come down as much as you can. We're getting hotels for the night. We'll be down there early, interact with everyone. Like, we won't be leaving early either. So, be a late-ish bar. So, come down and watch a Giants game with everyone else, because look, it's our team, and it's better crack watching it with your mates in a bar, screaming and shouting at a massive TV instead of at home on your own. So, anyway, if anyone who can make it down, it'd be awesome to see us.
Kev,
Yep.
Can I just ask, if I turn up with 6 legacy jerseys on, am I getting 6 points?
Yes, because I would love you to spend £600 for me
Mate,
to spend a couple of quid on pints.
Yeah, for 20 quid. That'll probably be the cost of a point in London anyway.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, on episode 100, we did a giveaway to give away some T-shirts. Now, the 4 winners of that, because there were 4, not 3 in the end, were selected, and one of the winners kindly donated his T-shirt to another one of our listeners who also sent in a question, who sent a message earlier from Tony saying, thanks for my Big Blue UK and Ireland T-shirt. And I just wanted to kind of touch on this just very quickly, because Tony said thank you on Twitter to us, and we were really appreciative of that. And then he also put a tweet up on the 17th, so 2 days ago, saying that he repped the Big Blue UK and Ireland at Andy's Man Club UK tonight and used the teas as one of his positives this week. Now, for those who don't know what Andy's Man Club is, let me just get their Twitter page up. It says, we have talking groups for men all over the UK. We want to get people talking, and in particular men. They're the creators of the viral It's Okay to Talk campaign. So they do sort of focus on men's mental health. And we've all discussed this as a group, and we think it's something that is near and dear to our hearts. And we just wanted to kind of bring a spotlight to it. One, that we're absolutely honoured that Tony not only is open about speaking about it on Twitter, and we respect that, but also that we were able to add a little tiny piece to his week that, helped him. We also want to reiterate that if there is anyone out there that is struggling or anything like that, we all have our Twitter handles around on the screen. My DMs are open. The DMs for our Twitter account, Big Blue UK IRL, is always open. We're on Facebook. We're in the UK fans group page on there. You can always get in touch with us. And we would rather that you just got in touch with us if you are struggling, rather than keeping it bottled up. I think we've all had personal experience with things like this. And we just wanted to make that clear. We're also going to reach out to Andy's Man Club to see if there's anything we can do to help promote them, because we believe that it's a cause that is worth promoting. So yeah, that was all we really wanted to say. Shane, Kev, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that. Obviously, I've gone on for a little while there.
Yeah, no, just to echo everything you say. Likewise, I'm on my Twitter handles below. People can just contact me about anything. It's rather great with someone and have a drink, whether it's alcohol or whether it's coffee, and talk about things. And people keep things bottled up. It's never good to keep things bottled up. It's always good to talk. And there's that slogan out there, or Twitter and hashtag about it's okay not to be okay. 100%. That is a fact without a shadow of a doubt. Something that no one will really debate about. So yeah, my DMs are always open as well.
Yeah, just to reiterate what the boys have said, this is very close to my heart. I've dealt with stuff in the past, and I wasn't fortunate enough to have sort of like groups like that to talk to. It was my late teens, or I didn't feel like I could talk to my friends about it. But since then, I've been open and honest with all my friends. All my friends know everything.
I can't hear Kev, just in case.
No, I can't hear Kev either, so Kev might be talking.
Kev can't hear you.
I'm not the only one having technical difficulties.
We'll let Kev know that unfortunately we can't hear him, and we will carry on. Dan, was there anything you wanted to add? I know you were kind of dipping in and out because of technical issues with the whole thing.
Yeah, I think my laptop's just giving up the ghost. I don't know why. So,
yeah.
Anything else I want to add? Obviously, I think you've just spoken about the Andy's Man Club, and talking about how it's okay to it's good. It's okay to not be okay. It's good to talk. We've all been in bad places in terms of mental health. There's plenty of people that have been, and so if you are going through some tough times, reach out. We're a family, we're a community. We love talking all things Giants. We love talking all things football. And if football or the Giants or whatever it is your release and is your happy place, and there's somewhere you can go to get away from, the darkness that's going on in your life at the moment, then we're all here. We're all ears. We'll happily talk football with you for as long as it takes. Because we love it, and we love that we were, we're a positive, part of someone's day, someone's week, someone's month. And Tony, I love that you took our T-shirt to your meeting this week as your sort of positive thing for this week. I think it's, it makes me really proud and makes me really happy that we do this, and it actually, gives someone something to look forward to each week, and it's a positive part of their life each week. So, if you are struggling, reach out, and we're happy to talk. We're happy to talk with you.
Kev, do you want to try one more time with what you were doing?
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Where did you lose me?
Pretty much halfway.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, just to, again, reiterate what all boys have said. I mean, like, we've all gone through certain things in our lives. I've had struggles in the past, like I've said, and I've been lucky enough to have. Not then, I didn't really have many people to talk to then, but since then I've developed a really, really strong friendship group, and I've been managed to. I'm very open book. I talk to everyone about anything, to be honest. But I've been able to talk to really close friends about certain things, and they've been able to talk to me about certain things. It's so valuable. But also the NFL community, I think, has been fantastic. I've met some really, really close friends here, some of my best friends, and so it's a really good community to actually reach out and talk to people. But sorry, I just got a message. But yeah, 100%. I love the that Tony managed to do that, and said we're here for anyone who wants to reach out, meet up, talk nonsense. I've got opinions on most stuff, so it doesn't have to be football. I'll talk to anyone about anything. So no problem at all. Yeah. I mean, we're always here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will close this one out now. So, my thanks as ever go to Dan, to Shane, Kev, to you, the listeners, to Jamie, to Rob, and to Steve for coming on. Anybody who's listening, watching this back, listening to it in the future, whatever. And like we said, if anyone needs anything, reach out.